Hey everybody, I am Gretchen Zellick, and this is
Annie Gibbons from Donuts and Pie Fitness. It's so funny because sometimes you say it differently. Anyway, um, we are here today to do another interview. And again, I just want to thank everybody first for following us through all these interviews. I hope you found them as fun as we have making them. And we are here to talk about aging enthusiastically. We've talked to many people up to this point, and everybody seems to have a common theme. It seems like passion. And that's what makes aging really fun, is when you find something later in your life where you think, oh my God, I'm going to do this, and you just do it. You get out of the box and you just do it, and it's just incredible what it provides in your life that you weren't necessarily even looking for. So that's been a great theme with all the people we've interviewed. And so Gretchen, I want you to introduce our next guest, and then we will be able to find out about how she's aging enthusiastically.
we're here today with Laurette Kittle from Walker and Wade, and I discovered Laurette online, I believe on Instagram. Her dresses are, as you can see in the background, gorgeous. They're flowy, they're kind of islandy caftans, tunics, and just flowing dresses. And I think, if I recall, it's from beach to table is her theme. And I'm telling you, I wear these dresses out here in LA. I go to meetings and people stop me and ask me where I got the dresses because there's nothing like them. They're so unique and so beautiful, and they just are, they make you feel like a goddess. And I think that's another one of your sayings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Annie, you gonna ask some questions?
Yeah, I wanted to know how at the age of 60 you decided to come up with this business. I mean, that's a scary thing to do. And I just want to know how you decided to do this business, what motivated you, where this concept came from. Just explain where you came from and why we're here at this
Okay,
point.
well, first of all, I would just love to thank Annie and Gretchen for doing this interview. It's very nice, and also for enjoying our clothes, which is also great to hear. It's kind of crazy, as you're saying, starting something in your 60s. And that's what happened to me, but it happened very organically. I never actually set out to start a resort wear company. So I'll go back a little bit. I designed fabric for very large manufacturers in New York City for over 25 years, Martex, Schumacher, Waverly. And so I've always loved color and print and fashion. When I was a little girl, I used to sit on a little stool watching my mom get ready to go to parties and events. She was a model and she loved clothes. And so I think that was very inspiring to me, and it didn't really happen till later, but was something that was always, there inside me. So the way that this happened, I had this business doing fabric design for many years, as I said, and then that was like slowing down a little. And we happened to take a family vacation to Bali. The reason being, both my boys are surfers, so we spent a lot of time at beaches all over the world. And their middle names are Walker and Wade. So that's how the name got started. That's it. And so oddly enough, I kind of feel like I was the first Walker and Wade customer without even knowing it. So at all these beach places, we would be in sort of remote beaches, and they would surf till dark. And I would always have to find like something to wear that we could go straight to dinner, because there was no going back to the hotel and everything. They were all really hungry. So I was always trying to find something, could never really find it. And then through some friends that we met in Bali, we were introduced to this amazing tailor. And while the boys were getting jackets and suits and shorts made and shirts, I did a couple sketches and found some fabrics and made a few dresses and caftans that I thought would be really fun to solve this problem of the beach thing. And I kind of came up with this idea of beach to table. That's where it came up from. And that was kind of it. And then I came back to Greenwich and I went to, dinners and lunches, and everyone kept saying, my friends were like, where did you get that dress? I love it. The fabric's so soft. It seems so easy. And I was like, oh, I just had it made in Bali. And I didn't really think about it at all, but it kept happening. And then my son, who is he works in New York, and he's kind of a finance guy and works on building companies. He was like, Mom, you need to do this as a business. And I was like, what? And he's like, you should go back to Bali and design a line of clothes. And I was like, no way, I'm not going to do that. And he just kept bugging me. And then a lot of my friends encouraged me, and my husband was like, you should do this. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try this, but take very baby steps. And I think that you guys asked me about, the challenges when you start the business.
Right.
And I can tell you that my biggest challenge was fear. I was petrified when I flew over on that plane to Bali, because I could think of a million reasons not to do this. Like, I'm too old, or I don't know enough about it. Bali's so far away. I don't speak the language. It's endless. It could just keep flooding in all the reasons why you shouldn't do it. But there was a little voice deep inside of me that kept saying, you should just do this. You have nothing to lose. The great thing about being older is that you don't really have a lot to lose. You raise your kids. We downsized our house. We could just take a chance. And I thought, why not go for it? So I love traveling. I love meeting new people. And I had forgotten that I really love a challenge. So this was exciting. And it was all of a sudden, life was really exciting to get up every day and try this and everything, with having no clue if it would be a success or what the end results will be. I finally focused on actually doing and creating things and not having to worry about the final outcome, which I think is kind of, looking back, a much easier way to do something. It takes a lot of pressure off.
Right.
So anyway, the one thing I can say is that I think it's really key as we age to move out of our comfort zone and just try something new. I think that's really important. So that's sort of how it happened.
And so with all this experience you have now, what kind of advice would you give, an entrepreneur who wants to start something later in life that's, a new adventure like this? I mean, this is amazing.
It really is.
I'm actually amazed by it, because I never expected any of this, which I guess is so much better way to go into it, I think. Anyway, I think that, it's such a hard question, because everybody starts different businesses and they do different things. So I don't think there's a pat answer, but I do feel like that most people, including myself, have no idea how to start a business. I mean, I certainly didn't. I have to say that what I learned is to just push away the fear and start with why. You really have to know why you want to do this. I think it has to be something that really comes from deep inside. And I think the why is at Walker and Wade, we make beautiful, bright clothing. And we believe, at least I do for this age, that any woman is a goddess, no matter what age. And so one of the first things I started with is what I'm wearing right here, which is called, I don't know if you can see it or not.
It's beautiful.
It's called
Gorgeous.
The Goddess Caftan. And I love ombre. It's one of the things I've always loved. And it's every piece is hand dyed, ombre dyed. And then what we do is we sew the seams. There are seams, so it's a little bit fitted. It's not total, caftan grandmother style. And then what we do is we work with these amazing women beaters, and they do all this hand beating, and we deliver the caftans to their home, because in Bali, having a car is a huge deal, and everyone has children in Bali. So the family's really key there. And we deliver them so they can stay at home and work with their kids, and then we pick up everything when they're done.
Wow.
So it's a nice little thing. So it started off with this caftan, and I just really love the idea that every woman is a goddess, no matter her age, no matter her size, no matter her color, whatever. I think that every woman should feel really great, and you feel so comfy in it. It's very soft and loose. So I think one of the other things I learned is that I started out, my whole thing was, I'm going to start out really small. I didn't have any big grand ideas. I think that it's really good to think global, but start local. So it was as simple as, I designed a collection. A lot of my girlfriends were really great, and they said, let me do a trunk show at my house. And I thought, we'll see what happens. So the first trunk show just was very, very successful. And I was frankly completely surprised. And after that, I just never looked back. It was sort of like hit the ground running. I was like, wait, people will actually buy these things. Let's keep going. And that's what happened. So, 5 years into it, we're on the road a lot. We do a lot of trunk shows in people's homes and also for charities. Molly and I, who works with me, just came back from a wonderful show in Milwaukee at a school, the university school. We also came back from a show in Lake Forest, Illinois for the hospital, for the Lake Forest Hospital. And it's really exciting because we really listen to our customers. I think that is such a key to be connected with your customers, like face to face. And they'll say, oh my gosh, I love this, but I wish it were shorter, or I wish this. And I listen to all of them, and we put that into our designing. I think it's like super key to be in touch with your customer, because I feel like I am the customer.
Right.
And then what happened was, when we started to grow, you can't do everything on your own. And I have the most amazing team. So about 3 years ago, Molly Peterson came on board, and she's young and beautiful and has a very serious background in fashion. And Molly, you can come say hi. And she really, we expanded our line. There's Molly. We expanded our line because I was sort of thinking more of the 45 and over set and sort of solving those problems for women. And Molly came in and said, let's do some things for the 20-somethings. And then what happened was the moms started, that's why I say it's very organic. The moms started wanting to get things for their daughters.
Right.
And we're like, oh my gosh, let's make a few like preteen outfits. Molly will show you the cute 2-piece set that we feel like crazy.
Adorable.
And the colors are gorgeous too.
Oh,
Wow.
unbelievable.
Cute little skirt.
Yeah.
And you can either wrap this or tie it. So we sort of like solved that. And then we started having some moms, or actually grandmothers, asking if you had anything for younger children. And we thought, let's do a mommy and me line. So we started out very small, and that has been, Molly will grab one of the cute little dresses, and that's been fantastic and a lot of fun. We've gotten connected with whole like local moms networks, and they did a whole thing in different cities across the country where we did a giveaway with them, and we gave away a dress with that would be matching for their daughters, because in a lot of the local moms networks, it's all young moms new to a city. They need to meet people so they can find out places to go with their little kids, and that's just been a whole nother world too. So here is this. I don't know if you can see it. This is the Annabelle dress named after my granddaughter.
Oh, so cute.
That's just
it has the matching mom.
And it has the matching.
Gosh.
So cute.
We don't do them identical, but we try to make them
Little baby wrap dress.
Love that.
So
and
cute.
then we got the moms. And honestly, this wrap dress is so great. We sell this dress to, early 20-year-olds all the way down to, I think we've sold it to women in their 70s. And they all.
I know I have that dress in blue.
You have that one?
I
have the
love that dress.
Oh, that
it is
one
so,
right there. Yeah.
And you can, you don't have to have the big slit or you tie it the way you want to tie it. It's
Exactly.
So flattering.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, it is. It's a very flattering dress, and you're right. You can tie it over and not have such a deep V and do what you want with it. But I'm really a huge believer in now that, if you have a story and a passion, I think you should take every opportunity to try to share it with everyone. So whatever it is, if you're a writer, or I have a really good friend who always wanted to write and wasn't able to because with family and et cetera and stuff. And she just published her first book because she finally said, hey, I'm 60. I'm going to take this seriously, and I'm going to sit down and write it. And it's exciting, right? I think it's like really great.
Laurette, I'm struck with a couple things. Oh, I'm struck with a lot of things, but I'm going to mention two things that really hit me is, as you're talking about this and going to Bali and feeling like, what am I doing and afraid? I had a similar experience when I was starting a business. And I remember my mother saying to me, how do you know you can do this? Like, how, you don't know anything about this. And I thought, I am more afraid not to try. That's where my fear lies, is not to try this, because then you just live with regret. And so that, I think, it really came out when you were talking about, you didn't know what you were doing, but really you were motivated by, oh, I can't not do it. And it really, you can tell, it's just that passion that you talk about. It's exciting. You just start thinking, ooh, I want to do something new. And then the other thing that I think is really good advice is you said, think think global, but start local, because so many times you hear people saying, busy people are successful people, but there's a fine line there, because busy people are sometimes try to do too much, and then they get so distracted that they really are not successful at all, because they just have too many things going on. So to focus where you need to focus, and then build from there. You had I love your story of the building, of where you started, and then you went to this age group, and then, and listening to your customers, you followed their lead. It's perfect. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, because I wasn't setting out to say by this age, I have to do this. Right. I really didn't know what the final outcome was going to be. And it really has been organic and exciting. And I wasn't in any big hurry or trying to meet any numbers. Right. It was really like a labor of love. Right. And it's crazy because now we do have customers. I really believe in the starting small, and my friends have been so supportive, and it all just sort of leads to something else. Like I'd have a friend in Greenwich would say, let me do a trunk show. And another friend would come and say, hey, I have a house in Florida. Let's do one there. And because Florida has been a huge market for us.
Oh, I bet.
Then when Molly came on board, I was doing everything very from home to home to home and spreading out that way. And then when Molly came on board, she was like, we need to do two things. We need to start a wholesale business, which I knew nothing about. And we also need to start going to trade shows, which we usually do one a year.
Yeah.
And so we're in maybe 45 stores, which is really amazing for a little company. And it's funny because we're think global, and we're actually in stores in the islands and in different countries. Right. So it's pretty exciting. But I think it's really important just to stay with the day-to-day and try to conquer little things, make little right. steps. I'm a big believer in that, because otherwise it is really easy to get completely overwhelmed.
Right. So one last thing, and I think you kind of covered this, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because the whole time you've been answering this question. What would your advice be to people to age enthusiastically, which you've been talking about the whole time?
It's the whole thing.
I know. But if you were just going to say, look, if you want to be enthusiastic in your aging, what would that be?
Okay, so my main thing, it's kind of like the way that I grew up. I think that staying active is the key. Mm-hmm. I think both mentally and physically, it's just really, really important, because without that, it's very hard to keep moving and going on. And I think that when you're really engaged in an activity and with something that's right in front of you, then you don't really have time to think about oh my God, I'm getting old, right. All that stuff. So it's just really great to stay focused on that. I mean, we really work hard on growing the business. We are on the road a lot. We meet a lot of customers, and sometimes, because I am older, sometimes it's a little exhausting, but then you just have to say, oh my gosh, we're in this beautiful place. Let's leave the show and just run to the beach and see the sunset. And it just revives you. You know what I mean? Or in the mornings before shows, if we're in beautiful places, I always try to get up a little earlier and just take a walk on the beach or take a swim. I love swimming so much. And I just think that definitely, rejuvenates you and it gets you going. And I just think that's really a key thing to do. When I'm not in beautiful places, I try to practice yoga and, take walks. We live in Connecticut in the woods. And, I have this memory of my dad at 80 years old. He slalom water skied. And it was just, my kids reminded me of it the other day, my two boys, and it was super inspiring. So I always go back to him and think, you know what, if he could do that and just feel fine about it and not feel old, that's sort of like my inspiration that keeps me going that way.
All right.
So exciting.
So I don't know. The other thing that I'm really a big believer in, and I know that it's probably super cliche, but I just honestly, that what's the saying, that youth is wasted on the young? When you're young, you think you're always going to be young and everything's going to be great and easy. but I'm really, really try to practice gratitude, because I think that, you know, there's a line, I love Joni Mitchell, and there's one of her more like unknown songs is called My Best to You. I don't know if you guys have ever heard it, but it's worth Googling. It's a beautiful little song. It's not one of her popular songs at all, but there's a line from the song, and it's very simple, but it's each new day is a kiss. And I feel like, you know, if you just get up every day and just say, I'm really lucky that I'm able to be here and able to work and able to share this dream. This is really all you need, you know. I think it's the gratitude. And you know what, there's always going to be challenges, but I think at the same time, why not make it fun?
Right.
Like, you know, being 60 can be fun too.
Yeah, Laurette, you've nailed it. You really have. I mean, this is just so much fun. I love talking to you. This is great.
It is.
What we're going to do
Too.
is we'll have links to your beautiful dresses on your site and your Instagram posts, which are beautiful too. Those are just so photogenic. They're gorgeous.
Thank you. We actually, you know, we are always struggling. We try to do it every day, but oh my gosh, we can't. We always we always work hard on those pictures, but Instagram is like a lot of work.
It is. It's a whole other business.
It is. It's like this whole other job, but it's fun too. We get excited about some pictures, and then, you know, anyway, it's an amazing medium and selling tool that we really had no idea. I mean, we actually get, because we're with Shopify, we actually get sales from Instagram. It's such a great connector.
Yeah.
I think that we just have to remember to not always be on our phones, because we don't want to miss out on what's happening you know, be here now, you know what I mean?
Hence your runs on the beach, so you're all set there. You go splash in the water. But thank you so much. I'm going to contact you afterwards, because as I said, we had some stuff to do. I need to get you out here for a trunk show and a few other things.
Oh, we would love to come out. Where town are you in again?
We're in Santa Monica, but it's Santa Monica, Pasadena, that area. So
that's an amazing area that we haven't even gotten to yet. We'd love to. And now, wait, where do you live?
I'm on Cape Cod.
How nice. Yeah, I had a feeling you were on the Cape because of the paintings and the light outside your window. So you guys are both in like gorgeous places.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, again, we're really lucky, and lucky that we can work together like this too.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Laura, thank you so much. Walker
fun to
Wade
talk
is the
with you.
best. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much.
okay. Thanks
Bye.
again. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.